Mr. Chairman, is this the one that I inquired about that went to the planning commission at the work session? No, sir. Okay.
That zooms in.
Gotcha. Are the members ready for the question? The pending motion is to adopt resolution 12-04007. Vote yes to adopt, vote no not to adopt. Please vote.
Yes.
19 yeses, 0 noes. The resolution is adopted. Next item of business is agenda item F2. The chair will stand for a motion on item F2A, budget transfer, general county fund, $5,000.
Move to approve A and B.
We have a motion by Commissioner Samples to approve F2A and F2B. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Hastings seconds. Discussion. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, we don't see the director. No word. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask the budget director a question about the A2A, the 5,000.
Go ahead and ask the question.
What's the 5,000 for?
There's an individual on leave of absence, and they are asking to move money from a salary account to a contracted service account so they can use the temp service to provide that service.
Do you know how long, Mr. Chairman, do you know how long the person's been out of work?
Mr. Renner, you go.
My understanding was it was in the fall sometime when they went on leave.
Mr. Chairman?
Did I?
You yield for
I'll give it for.
Mr. Sines, recognized.
According to the information before the budget committee, she is on unpaid leave due to a medical situation. And this money is simply moving into contracted services to pay him.
Well, that's where I've got the problem, Mr. Chairman, is that she's not on unpaid leave because she's getting insurance.
That's what we were told.
The insurance is being paid for this person that only came to work in July 1st. And went on bed rest September, at the end of September. Okay? You're not even eligible for FMLA until 12 months of employment. So I'm trying to figure out why and where this person is, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Renner, do you have anything to add to the discussion?
I can't answer the question. We can certainly look into it, but I think the issue is getting work done that needs to be done with the temp service.
And I won't disagree with that, but if you're gonna have temp service, Mr. Chairman, then we're gonna have temp service and we're not gonna have a position.
Commissioner Burlow.
I was just wanting to say, I believe Commissioner Houghton's questions would be more directed to the HR director instead of this body or Mr. Beard as of right now.
Pending motion is to approve the budget transfer for $5,000 to take care of the person who's filling that seat at this time. Chair will entertain any other motions that need to be brought before this body. Are the members ready for the question? Pending motion is to approve the budget transfer.
Well, where's the money coming from for the temp service? Coming out of the salary line.
Coming out of the purpose.
It's only a transfer.
That's
No
all.
budget increase.
All right.
Pending motion is to approve the budget transfer.
Mr. Chairman, can the gentleman group can be on the same thing?
Sir? I didn't see, no one's allowed outside the worship. You go ahead and just, have a step outside.
I'd like to get a camera on the podium. Is that possible? I can't.
Sir.
Camera on the podium.
Sir, please leave the area.
That's all I have to do.
Yes. I'm sorry. I beg permission, pardon for lack of notice. I was concentrating on item 2A, F2A, and item F2B. Commission will come to order. Sir, you're to step outside. You're to step outside. Commissioner Carter,
I'm just curious, who gave that permission, that man permission?
no, you're out. All right, we're conducting business
All right,
here.
we'll go back to chair, sorry.
Chair apologizes for the disruption. The pending motion on the floor is to approve budget transfers for item 2A, F2A, and F2B. Is there any more discussion? Vote yes to approve the budget transfers. No, not to approve.
Yes.
19 yeses. The budget transfers plural are approved. Next item of business is agenda item F3. Chair will stand for motion on F3. Resolution 1204-008, resolution to amend the general purpose school budget by $3,790.
So moved.
Burkhalter, second by Commissioner French. The motion is to adopt resolution 1204-008. Discussion. Members ready for the question? Pending motion is to adopt resolution 1204-008. Vote yes to adopt, vote no not to adopt. Please vote. And voting is not correct, Mr. Aaron, because we took A and B together. So 18 yes and 3 absent, but Mr. Clerk, please note that we're voting on item F3. Correct. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, excuse me.
That was up for
2A and B were grouped together.
Chair.
So we're on F3, and it's an actual increase, so it must be voted on by roll call. So that's why I want to make sure that we're up to date on it. Resolution is adopted. Moving on to item F4 on the agenda, the chair will stand for a motion on item F4, resolution number 12-04004, a resolution authorizing the release under TCA 751-904 of an office copier for the animal shelter of Blount County. Commissioner Sample, Commissioner Gamble. The motion is to adopt resolution 12-04004. Discussion. Commissioner Folks, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have question for Mr. Pinion.
Next question, sir.
Is this included in the budget, or is this in addition to the budget?
Mr. Painter?
I do not know the answer to that. I wasn't part of this process.
Well, Commissioner Samples, you're recognized. Sorry, turned out on that.
We must have our lives mixed up. Somebody, it is in the, it's not.
Okay. Thank you.
Other discussion? Members ready for the question? Pending motions to adopt resolution 12-04-004. Vote yes to adopt, vote no not to adopt. Please vote. Yes, no no's. Resolution's adopted. Next item of business. Item F5, resolution number 12-04-005, prohibiting parking on roadways under the jurisdiction of Blount County outside the limits of municipalities and other than a federal and/or state highway when such parking is dangerous to those using the highway or interferes with the free movement of traffic. Motion by Mr. Helton. Second. Commissioner Lagle. The motion is to adopt resolution 12-04-005. Discussion. Commissioner Samples.
I just had a question, who will be determining those situations? Who's going to put the departments, who determines where the no parking is?
I would department away from the sheriff's department. Commissioner Hill, would you like to answer? You recognize.
Sheriff's Department, Highway Department, sir.
Commissioner Folks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I continue to have a problem with this resolution. Citizens under this resolution can petition to have no parking signs in their neighborhoods. There's only one problem. This provides that in order to file a petition, you have to pay $75 as a citizen. And I don't think citizens ought to have to pay to petition their government. I think that's a real problem. And although it was argued in the work session that $75 isn't all that much money, if you drive around this county, you'll find many areas where $75 is a lot of money, and where people are worrying about scraping together enough money to drive to work to buy the gas. And I just think this $75 charge is out of line. Thank you.
Are the members ready for the question? The pending motion is to adopt resolution 12-04-005. Vote yes to adopt, vote no not to adopt. Please vote. Resolution is adopted. Next item of business is F6. The chair will stand for a motion to refer the petition to close an easement off Kinder Drive and Woodthrush subdivision to the Blount County Planning Commission.
So moved.
Commissioner Burkhalter moves. Commissioner Helton seconds. The motion is to refer the petition to the Blount County Planning Commission. Discussion. Seeing no lights. The pending motion is to refer this matter to the Planning Commission. Vote yes to refer, vote no not to refer. Yeses. The motion carries. Next item of business is F7. The chair will stand for a motion on item F7. Resolution 12-04-009, resolution granting permission Department's negotiating agreement with the National Park Service to make certain repairs to damage to the road, providing access to the Sheriff's Department's new communication tower located near Look Rock Observation Tower off Foothills Parkway.
Second.
Mr. Taylor moves, Mr. Carter seconds. The motion is to adopt the resolution 1204-009. Discussion. Members ready for the question? Pending motions to adopt resolution 1204-009. Please vote. Nineteen yeses, the resolution is adopted. Next item of business is agenda item FA, request from Madison County, Tennessee, forwarded from the Agenda Committee, requesting a letter of support from this commission for the prohibition of unfunded state mandates. Moreover, this letter be sent to the Blount County members of the General Assembly and the Governor's Chief of Staff.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Move for approval.
Mr. Lewis moves, Mr. Lael seconds. Mr. Lewis, could you state your motion, sir?
The motion is to have the chair draft a letter using the Madison County resolution as a guide, and send to Representative Ramsey, Representative Swan, Senator Ogilvy, and Governor Hazen's Chief of Staff.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Say no. Motion carries. Next item of business is F9. The chair will stand for a motion on item F9, space allocation request, records management and archive department.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of 9A, B, and C.
Commissioner Lael moves 9A, B, and C. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Carter. Discussion. The motion is to approve space allocation request for records management for circuit court clerk and the highway department. Discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to direct a question to Mr. Bigger, if all possible. Mr. Bigger, I don't know whether going to parade at all, but Mr. Carver and I serve on this commission. We have requested a listing of assets that would be under the purview of the Space Allocation Committee. And as of right now, for 4 months of being on this panel that we haven't been able to give an asset listing of what space is available in the county and what buildings or assets we are responsible for. And if we need to rephrase the question as, if you can give us a listing of what utility bills for property we're paying for, I'm not trying to be condescending. I just don't know how else we can get this information, and maybe you're not in your new position to make this information come forward to us. That way we can better manage the assets of the county.
Commissioner Burkhalter, in fairness to the budget director, this request was made to whom? So made to the mayor, made to?
This is a request that was made through the mayor's office.
Mr. Benny, direct that.
I will see what I can find and see if I can provide it to you in more time than that.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Carter, you recognize.
If I could just follow up, Tom, the risk manager was the one I made that request to. So maybe that's an area that you can talk with and expedite. Thank you.
Are the members ready for a question? The pending motion is to approve request for space. There are agenda items 9A, 9B, and 9C. Vote yes to approve the request, vote no not to approve. Please vote. The requests are approved. This time we move to agenda item G, Announcements and statements. Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's reported Monday that the property of the airport Hilton, which sits on non-exempt property, and this is through the efforts of the property assessor. Primarily what happened was they felt that since it was a hotel that sat on tax-exempt property in competition with other hotels and motels, that it should be tax exempt. So they went to work, there was a suit resulted, and I think just a day or two ago, well, it's on Monday, it was reported to me through the lost tax revenue committee that agreement, judge's order agreement has been signed by all parties, and that's putting $6.5 million back on tax rolls with an annual tax revenue of about $55,000, and that's retroactive back to 2010 when it was asked for.
Any other announcements or statements? Seeing none, we'll move to agenda item H. Public input on items not on the agenda. Ms. King, Ms. Ball. Your name, sir?
Dodd Crow, C-R-O-W.
Thank you, sir. Ms. King, would you like to please come forward?
Thank you. I'm Linda King with Citizens for Blount County's Future. I'd like to address an important issue which should be of concern to all parents and grandparents. A recent news story from Knoxville grabbed my attention when a mother contacted her school board after reading a mandated library book for her 5th grader. The book was titled Looking for Alaska. Not a geographical book, as the title may imply. It apparently refers to pornography, drugs, drinking, smoking, and sex. I contacted Superintendent of Schools, Rob Britt, to ask if Blount County Schools had this book on their required reading list. I finally got my answer. It's not a mandated reading assignment, but it is in several of our school libraries. Mr. Britt advised me that the book is in a section of the library that requires parental permission before checkout. I hope that alarms you as it does me. It sounds like a video store where a back room for adult materials is. I firmly believe that this section of books should be removed from our schools. Imagine that, as taxpayers, we're purchasing and encouraging books of adult nature while discouraging the availability of the Bible. Recent reports about the explicit sex education being taught in New York and California and quickly spreading across the country tells me that Looking for Alaska could be the camel with his nose under our tent. Elected officials are so hungry to accept grant monies from our federal government that they don't care what mandates and strings are attached. I recall one night when several of us were at a school board meeting where Dr. Bell stated that a recent grant application had been approved, but said, quote, "You won't like it." Not one board member questioned why. They just accepted the money without knowing the mandate attached to it. On a local level, we should insist that our school board members deny the purchase of unacceptable books, stop accepting grants that require teaching sex education other than abstinence, and demand accountability with taxpayer dollars. I, for one, would like to see monies go toward an education that produces students who are prepared for future employment, not having our hard-earned dollars go toward sex education, which should be left to the parents. Let's get back to the basics in education. Thank you.
Ms. Ball.
I have a simple request either for the chairman or maybe for the IT department, and that is that the PBA meetings be listed on the county's website. I realize it's a discrete component unit, whatever that means, but there's no reason that it can't be listed online because most of us aren't finding out about these meetings until after they happen. So I would appreciate it if you all could just list that with the monthly calendar. Thank you.
each time I come up here to the commission meeting, I think, who am I to get up and speak? I'm a taxpayer, and I justify it that way a little bit. I have 30 years of service with Blount County children, but I made a promise that I would not sit back and not speak up for our kids. So I hope you don't get tired of listening to me. I'm just fulfilling my promise of making sure that their voice is heard. Thought you were going to talk about technology tonight. It was exciting to see it discussed a little bit in the paper. I want to tell you that I don't know the right decision. I know it's complicated, but I can sure guarantee we need the technology. Loudon County, let's go Greenback. Greenback had more technology in their school 15 years ago than William Blount High School has today. We talk about our children competing in a global economy, but the technology we have, for the most part, is begged, borrowed, and found. It's not very well distributed across the county. The new schools were doing a pretty good job. Problem is, after about 8 years, we don't have a plan to replace it, so it's all gone. Have colleagues that teach computer or try to teach computer in our schools, and they're looking for employment elsewhere, not because they make $15,000 more in the next system, but because you can't teach computer if you don't have computers. I know that y'all have pressing budget needs. Again, I just want to tell you that we need technology. I go back to the days when a local principal in our system formed a corporation and took out a $100,000 loan so the parents and their kids could have technology in our school. The computers were wore out and outdated before 6 years later when they got the loan. My wife and I have been teachers in Blount County a long time. Every computer that we have gotten, except one that we got through a contest that our school won, we have fundraised, done grants, sold candy bars, sold lollipops, worked in the summer. That's how we get our technology in Blount County schools, or we get it given. No, you got a lot of stuff to balance, but our children need a fair chance. Thank you.
Commissioner Morrow, we recognize.
Yes, I just wanted to give everybody an update. I know you guys saw the cameras in here. Sometime in January, we got approval. We really did get approval, but I asked permission and was granted permission by the school board to, if we could get our commission meetings on a disc, they would air it for us, just like they do the football games or any other county activity. If we bring the disc to them and it's cut and edited and ready to go, they will air it for us. We have someone that has volunteered to do that. It does not cost the commission any money whatsoever. It's not in our budget. And unfortunately, the signals got mixed up tonight, so I apologize about that. He did not know he was not allowed to come back here, and he does now. So, and he'll be in the back, out of the way from now on. So that's the update on that. There will not be any budget issue because it is being done by an individual, and that's how it will go on the school board channel.
I take that, Ms. Morrow, Commissioner Morrow, as an apology for the disruption of our proceedings here tonight. In the future, I'm speaking from the chair that anyone who enters those doors know the rules of the commission and will conduct themselves accordingly. And that applies not only to the people who sit in these chairs, but the chairs out there. So thank you for letting me know what's going on and the fellow commissioners know what's going on. Commissioner Melton, we recognize.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to pick up on this probation secretary. I'm a little concerned with Commissioner Helen brought it up earlier. mayor look into this. I'm concerned because of what Mr. Helton said. I'm not familiar with human resource or anything like that. But this does need to be looked into. Well, I understand she's been collecting, or has our insurance for 6 months. Was only on pay for a couple of months, is that right? And she continued to be on our insurance, which I'm assuming that they know, but I'd like to, for the mayor and human resources to look into this situation. That's my request.
Mr. Williams here, and I'm sure he's taking notes. Commissioner Helton, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Murray, you stated that the school board gave permission to do this? The school board did. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I'm not on that wrong.
No, the school board gave permission to use the channel, to air it on the channel, not to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. The school board gave permission to use one of their channels for our commission meeting.
To air the chamber, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Folks, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of comments on things we've heard here. Some time ago, and I'll come up with a resolution if you'd like it, the commission passed a resolution that directed that all county meetings, all meetings of county government bodies be placed on the county's website. And we're not doing that now, and I would hope that we would begin to do that.
I'd have to look at your, to my knowledge, I know the agenda meeting, budget meeting, and commission meetings are made available on the website.
They are. What's not on the website are things like PBA meetings, cable TV authority meetings, all of those kinds of meetings. And the resolution included all that, and it simply requested that we just put those notices on the county website. And we've never fully implemented it. I would hope that we can, maybe Rhonda can look into that and see whether we can gather that information. On the matter of technology in the schools, we hear you. As a matter of fact, in the last Education Committee meeting, we had a discussion on technology, and we expect to have quite a few additional discussions on technology in the schools. As far as the video goes, I want to thank the volunteers. I mean, it's nothing new. For many years, the county commission meetings have been televised on the school channel. There's nothing new about that. We've missed several months here because it was cut from the budget. And I'm very happy and thankful that a volunteer has stepped forward to do it for us. So thank you very much. That's all I've got. Thank you.
See no lights. Included our agenda items. Chair will stand for a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Blount. Without objection, stand adjourned.
Yes, we did.
Thank you, Ray. You're welcome. God bless you. God bless you. Let us know at citizens of Blount County future. You're a volunteer. We had the bleaching here at the radio station, clothing giveaway and everything. Just a volunteer ministry. We invite you to come to our meeting. Our position links like tonight, Thursday, we meet Thursday. It's getting bad. Trying to take your speech away from it. But you're gonna have a lot of old people that used to really want to play. I want to see.
You get that kind of plug into their PA system up there? But got the guy. So they are plugging into the PA system. That way the sound.
Well, the guy that brought the camera, the church, I pastored Lord Disciples, and the church bought the camera, and he owns one of the cameras. He had a doctor's appointment to him late getting here. He should have been here 30, 45 minutes.
Joe, I invited him to come to our meeting and you can talk to us about what they're doing. So these people keep taking away. It's not us. They didn't need any support, but we can be there if you do it.
We've been trying to get our cameras to pick them up. Like I say, you can, I don't know, you can talk to whoever, but you can put the plug in.
Okay, Harry is the reason we're here. He's encouraged us to come. He's telling us there's a plug-in to the speaker system over there for the people plug-in.
It's actually well.
For the sound.
I think it's. I have to look and see. It's actually up under the podium where the people speak.
Yeah, where the people speak.
It's in that corner. Right. Where it is.
Okay. He invited us to their meeting on the third Tuesday night. You cover that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You have to let me know.
Right. Is this yours, Dave?
No, it's his. Yeah, I'll take it with me.
He's on.
Yeah.
He's out there.
Yeah. I don't know how to turn this off. You just push the button.
Yeah.
C, public input on items on the agenda. I see Ms. King, Ms. Monroe, Ms. Ross. Your name, sir?
Rick Beatty. Rick Beatty.
Mr. Beatty. Your name, sir?
Brett Durr. Brett Durr.
Mr. Deere. The lady next to you? Pardon me? Ms. Miller, excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Martini. Yes, sir.
Ken Monarch.
Mar?
Monarch.
Mar. Ms. Rosso? Ms. Monroe, if you please come forward, please.
No taxation without representation.
For those who know, if you'll give your name.
I'm on Road District 7. No taxation without representation. These words are a mantra to Americans. A war was fought over it, among other things. It is a foundational principle of the American way of life to have elected representation for the taxes that we the people pay. The Smoky Mountain Tourism Authority creates a board with 70% unelected members. Why do you wish to violate this foundational principle that our founders fought and died for? Currently, you have the authority to spend this tax revenue. With a huge budget deficit coming up, which will require a massive tax increase, why would you waste 70% of the hotel tax revenue when you can use it to prevent a property tax increase? No one has bothered to explain to the people why this tourism authority is needed. What problems are you trying to correct? Or is this good old boy politics? Many of you are probably disgusted by Obama's crony capitalism slender scandal. Why would you do the same thing in Blount County by handing over 70% of the hotel tax revenue to private business owners who would be able to promote their own selfish interests? This commission is all Republican, and Republicans Republicans claim to support free market principles. Yet this authority will allow private business owners to pick winners and losers in the tourism industry. Why not let the free market work? The government has no business running the tourism industry. The free market can and should. Italian fascist corporatism provided the basis for a tyrannical government that we fought another war over, among other things. In essence, this tourism authority has at least two elements that Americans have given their lives to stop. Through wars, Americans have defeated no taxation without representation and corporatism. Therefore, I ask you, why do you ignore American history and dump these same tyrannical policies in our own backyard? Many of the people who fought died opposing taxation without representation and crony capitalism would consider this tourism authority to be un-American. Mr. Chairman, Blount County does have an Agenda 21 problem, but it's not coming from the United Nations. It's right here in this courthouse. The agenda of 21 commissioners can install fascism in our own backyard. I urge you to defeat Blount County Agenda 21 by rejecting this dangerous, un-American fascist tourism authority. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Linda King with Citizens for Blount County's Future. And first off, thank you for your support at the agenda meeting of resolution condemning Agenda 21. For your information, the mayor of Union County just rescinded their support from the 5-region Plan ET. Good for them. Now I'd like to address the facts regarding the new tourism authority, which is being voted on tonight. While speaking with the commission chairman, he stated that it's nothing new, just a few more people being added to the board so that the cities can have input into expenditures. The truth is, this tourism board is vastly different. It not only adds more people, it adds private individuals who are unelected by the citizens to decide how tax money should be spent. Do you really believe that they won't have their private business interests in mind? Socialist UN Agenda 21 recommends putting non-governmental people in charge of community affairs. That way, the people have no way of petitioning their government for dealings which they feel are corrupt. The agencies do not report to the governmental body and are therefore unaccountable to the people. Their financial records are not made public. Remember what happened in Knoxville? This tourism board will have the authority to take loans, and contrary to what's being stated, if they go bankrupt, the citizens will be held responsible for their debts. Just check into similar circumstances in other states where this has occurred with non-governmental agencies. In addition, not only can they issue bonds, they can do so for longer periods of time than we recommend for county debt. Of a greater concern, if that's even possible, is that the tourism board will have the power of eminent domain. How can you vote to give that right to individuals who are not elected by the citizens? Why would you vote away your authority to approve or disapprove of important issues in our county? Weren't you elected to serve the people? This tourism body was not. Please vote no to validating this agency and hold on to your authority and independent sovereignty. Thank you.
My name is Barney Lowe. I'm from District 5, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Citizens for Blount County's Future. I'm a citizen speaking against the new tourism authority that is being voted on tonight. We, the citizens, are only here to pay the bills after the rules are decided for us by the commissioners, letting us know what they think is best for us. I ask that you not vote for this tonight. Thank you.
Carol Ross from District 1. Where will I go? What will I do? The response, frankly, my dear, I don't give up, well, you know the rest. These are the closing lines from the movie Gone with the Wind, but they might well be the words spoken as the Tourism Authority takes property from Blount County property owners in the future. This is not without precedence in Blount County. As we look at the Maryville Building Authority and the Tennessee Valley Authority, these two authorities have in fact used eminent domain to acquire property for monetary gain. The tourism agency continues to say that it already exists and nothing will change except that the board will expand. Let's see if this is really true. Do they currently have eminent domain? No. They will. That's change 1. Can they currently borrow money? No. The county must currently borrow it for them. They will acquire this power. That's change 2. Can they accept government grants without permission? No. They get this privilege too. Change 3. Currently, you approve the agency's budget. You will have no control over the authority's budget. That's change 4. Will this commission have oversight for the actions and activities of the authority as you now do with the tourism board? No. Change 5. The current agency's records are available to the public. With the authority, this will not be the case. Change 6. That's 6 changes in addition to the board changes. There are many more. Projects are not required to be connected with tourism, so I question why its name even includes tourism, except as a distractor. The $1 million in debt is being used as a lure. Very tempting. It is possible to reel many of you in, but this is less than 0.5% of the county's total debt. And what are you giving up in exchange for it? If you vote yes on this resolution tonight, remember this fact throughout your life. In a symbolic sense, you agreed to accept 30 pieces of silver in exchange for the slavery of the people of Blount County. Thank you.
Mr. Rothschild?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Harry Rothschild, and I'm from the 9th District. The issue of this authority has been well spoken of by Mrs. Ross, and I endorse her position, and I hope that you all would recognize that there's a principle in law called the learned intermediary principle. It's sometimes used in political campaigns to hold people accountable once they've been informed as to the consequences of their decision. I think the consequences of the research that these citizens have done is quite clear, Mr. Chairman. We've been running this story, quoting Commissioner Lambert's remarks on the radio show she did with me a week ago Tuesday, saying that Agenda 21 is the most serious threat to America in her lifetime. And what these citizens have done have pointed out the connection between this authority and its role as a non-governmental organization to use that governmental authority to take private property owners' rights that are not available to this agency at the time. So I hope that you will recognize the serious nature of the vote that you're about to cast tonight, Mr. Chairman, and reflect on perhaps needing to further examine the matter before you are held accountable for the action that you take. Thank you very much for your prayerful consideration of defending our God-given rights.
Amen.
Hi, I'm Rick Beatty, District 3. I'm not going to read the paper to you. Okay, I'm going to watch the clock there. I thank you for hearing me. it's a tough act to follow these folks, as Mr. Foster said. They apparently are very well researched, and I think they truly believe what they've said. On the other side, I've talked to people in the newspaper business, I've talked to other citizens, I've talked to even members of this commission, and I hear other viewpoints that are very compelling. And I've just recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, moved back here to Maryville, really looking forward to it, and quite frankly, not to get off the subject of the agenda, because what I wanted to mention basically is both the ask you all in regard to your vote, not only for Agenda 21, but this tourist thing, agency, is that it seems to me like there's a lot of confusion. Not to demean anyone, there's certainly disagreement, if not confusion. And I guess I would just say it's really disconcerting to come back, have such great fond memories and expectations of Blount County, and to see our citizenry and our commissioners at odds with each other, and apparently a lot of distrust. And I know probably nobody really wants that. We want a citizenry that trusts their elected folks, and we want elected folks who trust the citizenry and think they're being appreciated. And so all I would say is that, I've even heard that this is no longer a private act, but it is Tennessee law that's exempt to the city of Memphis only, and everybody else is under that act, and it's been signed by the governor. I'm not sure the citizens know that, and I guess all I would say is that, if it is possible, if it's not absolutely urgent, that if there is any things that you all are not sure of, and would be willing to consult with citizens and others about it to make sure before you make your vote tonight, I think that would be worthwhile, and it would build rapport and trust between all of us in one county in the future, and hopefully lead to a better situation here. But thank you all very much for your service, and I do thank also the citizens for their participation. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Brett Durr for 10th District. Tonight, for item F4, I'd like to personally thank Commissioner Lambert for bringing that forward to this commission for the resolution against Agenda 21, and hope all of you will support it with a vote of yes. Item F5, I am highly opposed to the Tourism Authority, and hope that all of you will vote no on this. I think we should cut our losses right now in this bureaucracy before it starts. And if this authority wants to exist, then they can convene it as a private, non-government funded, non-tax funded entity. And if they need money to operate, they can do like Blount County Rescue Squad and go door to door and ask for donations. If you haven't read all the details on this authority, or if you don't understand it completely, then for sure vote no on this issue. I agree with all the comments already raised by Tom Monroe and Carol Ross, and again, I implore you to vote no on this issue. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, I'm Karen Willis, I reside in District 4, and I would like to urge you to please vote no against this Tourism Development Authority. Blount County does not need it. As a matter of fact, the state doesn't need it. And the decisions you make tonight are going to affect other communities in the state. And it's very, very serious, and it's very, very fascist to have this organization. I'd like to remind you of what this this act includes. Only 3 of 10 directors of the authority are elected officials. Once this authority is launched, it will be out of the control of elected officials. The act says there will be 10 members of the board of directors. Why are there 10 directors needed to manage the work of about 7 people? The act provides for 2 directors, each for Maryville, Alcala, and Townsend. What if hotels located in Louisville, Roxford, Friendsville, or the county at large? This law prevents any possibility of them having representation on this board. The last time I looked, taxation without representation was not real popular. The act provides for 6-year terms for directors. 4 years is good enough for a president. Why not for these directors? In fact, the terms are not even 6 years, since they get to serve until a successor is appointed, no matter how long it takes. Why this strange setup? This act says that the open meetings law applies to this authority, but section 12 of the act seems to violate the open meetings law by permitting meetings to be conducted by any means of communication, by which all directors participating may simultaneously hear each other. No provision is made for the public. The act allows this authority to float fixed or variable rate bonds for up to 40 years without any limitations, based on the life of the asset. This is part of the reason the county got into debt and trouble. This also violates a proposed county debt policy. The larger question here is what motivated a commission made up entirely of people who claim to be Republicans to approve a major expansion of county government. Why did they approve this expansion without even stating the goals and objectives of this new authority? Our business owners and citizens are likely to wake up in a few years to find that we have a new bureaucracy, paying an executive director $405,000 per year, just like the citizens of Knox County recently discovered. Please urge you to vote no. The characteristics of fascism: rampant cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint each other to government positions and use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. It is not uncommon in fascist regimes for national resources and even treasures to be appropriated or even outright stolen by government leaders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Deanne Martini, and I'm a resident of Blount County in District 4, and I've resided here for about a year and a half. Kind of knew all that's going on here, but finding some really shocking things going on in the government in Blount County. I would like to first thank Commissioners Eddie Weber and Kenneth Mountain for proposing the resolution exposing the United Nations Agenda 21. I would also like to declare that I'm in total agreement with this resolution, because every word of this resolution is the truth, and that it is a much abbreviated version of a gigantic global agenda. It has been insidiously veiled to represent environmental concern, but has deeper roots that affect the liberties and constitutional rights of American citizens that are supposed to be protected by oath under our elected representatives. I appreciated Commissioner Lambert's statement made recently that she considered this the most serious threat to America that she's ever seen in her lifetime, and I agree with those sentiments. And if you truly study the United Nations Agenda 21 proposals, it's all in black and white, and you'll come to the same conclusion. The sovereignty as a nation is being circumvented by Agenda 21. And I can inform you that the Stop Agenda 21 programs are being confronted in cities across America, and so far 600 cities that implemented Agenda 21 programs have been overturned because they are unconstitutional. I am respectfully asking for all commissioners to seriously consider their responsibilities to represent the constitutional rights of their constituents and vote yes to pass a resolution exposing exposing United Nations Agenda 21. The second serious issue I would like to comment on is the private act relating to hotel-motel taxes and a tourism board, and approving the creation of a tourism development authority. I read the large print on the two 16-page resolution that was presented, and I also read the fine print in the 16-page legislative bill with amendments. And I have found a lot of conflicts of interest. And I believe this appropriation, this resolution appropriates conflicts of issues and interests as usual, and opportunities for government waste of tax revenue in the hands of unelected representatives in establishing this Tourism Development Authority. It is stated in item 4 of the resolution that the Board of the County Commissioners, along with each of the other governments creating the authority, indicates its willingness to appropriate sufficient funds if necessary to provide for the initial administration of this authority. And then also the last sentence states in bold letters, no such fund shall be necessary in this case. But there are other provisions in the legislative bill that are contrary to this. In item 4, it just provides a loophole to implement these funds on the issue, and there's no guarantee that tax revenues will not be used if the situation is deemed necessary.
Mr. Monroe?
Good evening. My name is Ken Monroe, District 5. I don't think I can elaborate any more on the details of the remarks that are made, but I'd like to discuss items 4 and 5, the United Nations agenda, and request that you all strongly consider its approval. And with respect to item 5, the resolution to approve a private act with a hotel motel tax and creation of a tourism development authority. I'm wondering what matters of detail such private acts are required in such an event, that these matters can't be handled through the regular electoral process of putting these matters before the people and requesting input in designing a peculiar or particular case that may fit the bill for their own county, instead of trying to put a stamp on something like this private act. And where does the authority, such as a TVA authority, where does this term that creeps into our government come from? Well, the authority in government is the people, and it's based on the foundation of this country and its religious beliefs. Initially structured, the authority was God, and then it went to the people, and then through various officials and judges that they may guide us wisely and inform us about these matters. So it seems like a matter of expediency, and I'd like to tie that together in the remaining time about which all these kind of authorities and directives are going with respect to kind of a philosophical bent. And I'm going to tie this in a weird way with what's happening with an Obama proposal to really reach out in school and put a lot of monies into schools regarding something called STEM. Well, for a long time, educators knew about how to educate and knew about how to basics. Now, both with respect to these authorities and planned thinking, the idea is because we all know these things so well, we're just going to decide and get the authorities to decide. But the problem with education, as well as such authorities, the connection is that we don't know what tomorrow's going to be. There may be some catastrophes which may totally change the landscape that you're operating in. And in this particular case, the landscape of the past is the power structure related to the growth regime. That has been singular in the past because we were a young country just developing, and everybody wants to do things the same way because that's the status quo. But what's the future? The future isn't there. The demographics are moving in the opposite direction. If you're on the East Coast, it's finished. If you're here, this part of the region of the country, there's more to go, but there will be a terminus that's in sight already. And other part of the countries are much more open. So I just want to say that this idea of central planning is connected to both. Thank you.
Mr. Kim, I apologize. Could you give your name to come up? Yeah.
I want to start out by saying how angry I am down here. I should not even be here.
You should not even be debating on this. I mean, it's just, I got, 2 grandsons and a niece that are playing baseball tonight, and I have to miss them to be here because the commissioners, they're not capable of making, decisions on their behalf. Mine, Jim folks, thank you for everything. I never have to worry about you. I want to say thanks to Peggy for the anti-Agenda 21 legislation. I just hope you guys vote yes on that. Seems like this bunch that was kicked out of Knoxville, they've jumped the fence over here. And you guys are even debating on getting these people, man, we just kicked them out of Knoxville. I mean, good grief. It's the same bunch, just a different name. I mean, they're doing the same thing. Vote no on that, come on.
Moving on to agenda items D and E, we have no business. So the next order of business is agenda item F1A. It's request for budget transfer to the library in the amount of $45,000. Is there a motion? Commissioner Sampson, seconded by Commissioner Harrison. The motion is to approve budget transfer for the library. Discussion. Members ready for the question? Pending motions to approve budget transfer for the library. Vote yes to approve. Vote no not to approve. Vote yes to approve the budget transfer. Vote no not to approve. One more. Yeses, 0 no. The budget transfer is approved. Next item of business is agenda item F2A, a resolution. Yes, F2A, resolution number 1205002. Resolution to amend the general purpose fund budget of the school system by $32,000. Is there a motion? Mr. Helton, Mr. Carver. The motion is to adopt resolution 1205-002. Discussion. Mr. Folks, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a quick question on this. Is this all related to the new Prospect School, or is this funding for problems at other schools?
This is not.
Mr. Logan, you're recognized.
This would be at Heritage Middle School, Porter, Eagleton Elementary. Those schools.
Okay, thank you.
Are the members ready for the question? The pending motions to adopt resolution 1205-002. Vote yes yes, 0 no. The resolution is adopted. Next item of business is agenda item F2B. Chair will stand for motion on F2B. Resolution number 1205-011, resolution to amend the general purpose school fund budget by $3,532.
So moved.
Roll call to Gamble. The motion is to adopt resolution 1205-011. Discussion, Mr. Fritz. Are the members ready for the question? If any motions to adopt resolution number 1205-011, vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt. Yes, 0 no's. The resolution is adopted. Next item of business is agenda item F2C. Chair will stand for a motion on item F2C, resolution 1205-012. Resolution to amend the general county fund budget by $720,170.40. Mr. Sample moves.
Second.
Mr. Burkhalter seconds. The motion is to adopt resolution 12-05-012. Discussion. Mr. Burkhalter, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if I could direct a question to Mr. Beaver.
State your question, sir.
Just clarification that this $720,000 is a repayment back of money that we've already paid out. So this is not new revenue, but it's just a return of interest that we paid out earlier. And the second part of that question with clarification, Mr. Chairman, would be that this is going to be an ongoing yearly expense while we have this Q step. So every year we'll be reappropriating back $720,000 of money we've already spent out. So it's not going to be a new item every year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Greer, you recognize.
The answer is yes to both questions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lamb?
Yes, sir, thank you. Could I direct the question to Mr. Baker?
Yes, sir.
At the end of this transaction, should it pass, what will be the status of our general fund account here in the general account?
Well, Mr. Baker?
You are reducing the current general fund balance by $720,000. You're increasing the debt service fund balance by $720,000.
And what would be the, if I may, Mr. Chairman, what would that leave us in the general fund balance at this point? Snapshot.
Mr. Baker, second.
You will be in excess of $5 million undesignated or unassigned in the general fund, and you'll be in excess of $12 million in the debt service fund.
Thank you.
Are the members ready for the question? The pending motion is to adopt resolution 12-05-012. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt. Yes, 0 no. The resolution is adopted. Next item is F2D. Chair will stand for motion on item F2D, resolution 1205-009. Resolution to amend the general county fund budget by $740. Mr. Lael.
Second.
Second was Mr. Helton. The motion is to adopt resolution 12-05-009. Discussion. Members ready for the question? Any motions to adopt resolution 1205-009? Please vote yes to adopt, vote no not to adopt. The resolution was adopted. Next item of business is item F2E. The chair will stand for a motion on F2E, resolution 12-05-010. Resolution to amend the general purpose school fund budget by $250,000.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Burkhalter.
Second.
Mr. Carter. On that. The motion is to adopt resolution 1205-010. Discussion. Mr. Phillips, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item provides a budget increase of $250,000 to make a major upgrade to the school computer network switches for the entire school system. Since the Agenda Committee, we have discussed this proposal at the Education Committee and in meeting with Mr. Dalton and his technical staff. The immediate problem in the schools is that when large online tests, like the Discovery Series, are given to students, it can take minutes for a new screen to come up. Needless to say, this is very disruptive to the testing process. The kids start to think the test is over, they turn their attention to other things, and the teachers have to spend time getting everybody back on track. Not a good thing in the middle of a major test. It turns out that this proposal to replace the switches will not solve this immediate problem. In the judgment of the school technical staff, the link between the school central office and the internet is currently choking the performance of the network. In our meetings, they recommended doubling the speed of this link from 75 megabits to 150 megabits. Mr. Dalton sent me an email indicating that the it's actually almost $18,000 cost of this faster link will now be included in the budget. It is likely that the speed of this service will have to be further upgraded in the next year or two. The technical staff also indicated that some computers are slow in the schools because they are running two different antivirus programs simultaneously. This is a well-known performance killer in the computer industry. My understanding is that the technical staff of the schools plans to remove these unnecessary virus programs from these computers over the summer. And this is not a trivial exercise because the school has about 7,000 computers. The switch proposal that's in front of us is aimed at solving a longer-term problem. As the state adds more internet-based testing, some levels of the switching systems in the schools will likely become new performance bottlenecks. This proposal will upgrade the school network with state-of-the-art switching system that will provide the capabilities the schools will likely need over the next 5 to 10 years. It will provide great flexibility to handle a wide variety of potential mixes of voice, video, data, and security information. While I might pursue this network upgrade a bit more slowly, I do not doubt the long-term need for such a solution, and I support it. The proposed list of switching equipment that accompanies this proposal specifies Hewlett-Packard as the vendor. Since highly similar equipment is available from other vendors, I suggest suggests that we are likely to get a far better deal on this equipment if we eliminate any mention of a vendor in the forthcoming request for bid. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are the members ready for the question?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask that wine to be closed back there in the back? Thank you, Randy. Then the other.
The pending motion is to adopt resolution 12-05-010. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt. Resolution is adopted. Next item of business is agenda item F3. The chair will stand for a motion on F3, resolution 1205-007, resolution authorizing the submission of an application of a litter trash collection grant. I'll go with you. Second. Forward, seconds. Excuse me. The motion is to adopt resolution number 1205-007. Discussion. Are the members ready for the question? Any motions to adopt resolution 1205-007? Vote yes to adopt, vote no not to adopt. Yes, and 4 absent. Resolution is adopted. Next item of business is agenda item F4. The chair will stand for motion on item F4, resolution 1205-006. Mr. French moves. Second. Mr. Burkhalter seconds. The motion is to adopt resolution 12-05-006. Resolution exposing United Nations Agenda 21. Discussion. Members ready for the question? Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt. Mr. Burkhalter moves, Mr. Help seconds.